Wow.
We're always ready to go live. What are you talking about?
Always.
What you talking about, Shorty? We're always ready to go live.
Dude, I just Twittered.
You Twittered, so it's real.
I
Let me
did.
retweet your Twitter.
It's like an invitation. Come on over, folks. Internet with us.
Internet with us. Internet, all the things. Well, some of the things. Well, just like there's a lot of things out there in the internet, so I guess we're only a little bit of it.
Hey, Justin.
Yes, Mike.
I am going full-blown Jeff Cross here, and I'm going to like my own tweet.
Okay. All right. You liked your own tweet. Wait, you liked your retweet?
No, NGBS liked the tweet.
NGBS liked its tweet. Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, makes sense.
Dude,
what about did it like the retweet?
No, I don't think you can because that's the same tweet.
I guess so. You're right.
Yeah, it's being passed by reference, not by value.
Tweet by reference.
It's going to be one of those nights. I can feel it already.
Immutable tweets.
Immutable tweets, yes.
Nice. Hey, what's the weather like out there for you right now?
I work from home. I have no idea.
Oh, you don't. I mean, you can't check like weather app or you want me to check for you?
I got it.
All right. Let me know what the weather was like there.
Hey, I got a notification that I Twittered at myself.
We're comparing.
I think I really need to just stop using the word Twittered.
Twittered?
Yeah. 45 degrees.
45 degrees. Wow. All right. That was a high today?
No, that's the current temperature. It went up to almost 60.
Almost
60. Be almost 70, 68 degrees. I might have to leave the house.
That's something. It was like 91 here today. Can you believe that?
It's crazy.
91. I don't live in the tropics or anything.
You don't?
No.
You sure?
It's Cali, but it's not like, yeah. All right, then. I'm trying to find ooh, there it is. Okay.
What'd you find?
Yeah, I'm trying to get on Angular Air's Twitter account to retweet our tweet, a tweet that NGBS has tweeted, and found it. So now I'm going to retweet it.
Oh, we got a reply from Brandon Roberts.
It looks like he's all eyes on us.
Dude, he likes hanging out with us, and I like hanging out with Brandon.
A lot of people do. I like it. We like having people hang out with us.
Yes.
Yeah. Hopefully some of our regulars will be back tonight.
I'm here. Does that count?
You're here. I'm here. I mean, that's a start. What's going to happen if like I'm sick or you're sick? Is it like the NGB or the NGS?
I don't know. Could we find a guest?
I think I'd rather just power through than have somebody replace me. I mean, I could turn my camera off if I got like really sick, right?
Well, it's not a replacement, right? It's not like that. It's not like you're going to lose your starting position. You
never know,
quarterback, bro.
You never know. Somebody might come on off the bench, and next thing you know, it's Linsanity, and then there you go. I lost my starting role, and
you already Linsanity.
Pulling back a couple of years.
It's a good reference. It's a good reference. I take it.
Yeah. Well, because it's like 9 gazillion degrees. I'm gonna turn my fan on. So have my fan going for the episode here or the stream.
I got a fan under my desk, but I don't think I need it.
No.
I'm a little warm, but I think if I just yanked my socks off, then I would. Because I've got this thing about socks. If you wear socks and you get warm, if you take them off, I feel like it really cools your body several degrees. I'm doing it. Doing it.
I agree. All right. It's a sock-free stream tonight.
Yes.
All right.
And it's an official stream because I got pretzels.
Oh, you got pretzels. You've taken up the pretzel mantle here. I haven't had pretzels in a little bit. I've got my streamer gamer fuel though. No, it's not gamer fuel. It's just a monster. But I got to feel like I'm in the mode.
I got a little bit of PA tap water.
All right. PA tap water. The PA tap.
Yeah. Not the tap operator.
Not the tap operator, the tap water operator. We should make a tap water operator. What would it do?
Well, we're playing with custom operators. We could create a tap water operator.
Tap water. So what would a tap water do? Let's see. It's not filtered, right? Tap water's not really filtered.
That's true. Oh, I'm not sure because it's not really cold and it's not really hot.
It's kind of in the middle. What would that be?
Warm, cool,
a warm, observable, warm. But tap's like a side effect, right?
That's true.
So you'd have to do some side effect thing related to the concept of water.
Warm. Hey, Frosty.
Oh, Frosty
here. Warm.
It says warm.
Warm. I think it's got to be warm.
Okay. Well, what does a warm operator do?
It's prepped and ready to roll, right?
All right.
But it's not quite hot. It's not spitting out values. It's not working without any subscriptions. I don't know. I'm making this up as I go.
Yeah, well, hey, I mean, like tap water. I like it. Tap water.
All right, for to-do list.
To do
tap water.
But we do have some other ones in mind that we're going to do.
Oh, we do. Yeah, that's right. We do have that. And I kind of cheated the other night. Well, actually, I didn't really cheat. I got overly ambitious, I guess.
Overly ambitious.
Yeah.
You mean you practiced?
Yeah. Well, let's go with practice.
You practiced.
Yeah.
All right. So you might already have an idea of what we're going to write tonight. Actual implementation.
An idea. We'll go with that.
All right. Do we have any? You have any loops to close up this week? What last time we streamed was Wednesday, right?
It was last Wednesday. I don't remember what we streamed about last.
Didn't get anything in. It was the NG.
All right, Cotton, let's check the footage.
Roll the tape. It was doing performance stuff with TrackBy.
That's right. We were tracking by.
Do you ever sing the Batman theme, the old Batman theme, when you use TrackBy?
No.
No. TrackBy. No,
I have not. No.
It goes with my Game of Thrones for my NG4, but no.
I like these little Justinisms, shortyisms. Yeah.
Sometimes you got to figure out ways to remember stuff, or in my case, I just got to figure out ways to get hyped about stuff. It's tough. See, I'm a only child, so I entertain myself a lot as a kid, and apparently I still entertain myself even as an adult. So I don't know.
You are entertaining me. So what you're doing is not totally just you based. It works.
All right. I'm expanding my horizons.
Yes.
My reach is growing. I'm entertaining a +1. I need more. I don't know.
Speaking of being your +1, I wish I was your +1 this coming weekend.
Oh, I do. I wish the same thing. Looking forward
I guess I should explain to everybody else who's watching what that means.
Yeah, the Google Developer Expert Summit is going on in Mountain View at Google headquarters this weekend on Saturday and Sunday. I will be there.
I will not.
You will not.
When the registration happened for the GDE Summit, I was not a GDE.
But
I am now.
Yay! Woo!
Once again. G to the D to the E.
G to the D to the E. All right.
Right?
Very cool.
It's quasi-official. I got the email that says, oh, it's official, but I'm not on the public site yet.
Is it as official as a referee whistle?
I think so.
All right. Well, then it's official. But you're not on the site yet, so maybe that's not official, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's not announced?
It's not.
Wait, did I just announce it?
If it's not on a website, it's not for reals.
This is true. I don't know.
That's how that works.
Make it up. All right.
That is very cool, though. Stoked. But yeah, bummed I won't be there. I wonder if Frosty's going to be there.
I don't know. I just checked the chat. He's not here no more. He went bye-bye.
He came through to say hi and then bounce.
Yep.
He's like, oh, you're not writing that tap water operator yet? I'll come back.
Tap water.
Tap water.
I'm entertained.
Kilted Code. They clearly waited long enough so you couldn't be there, Brocco. Yeah.
I think so.
Somebody may have told him to like hold off a bit. It wasn't me.
By the way, you know who that is, right?
What?
Kilted Code?
I'm assuming.
Yeah.
I'm assuming it's You did a talk with somebody who is a Kilt fan.
I did.
I know.
With a one.
Oh, that would be very fitting. That talk was very fitting to tonight's stream. Right?
You know what it is?
Because didn't you like list like 20,000 operators in a 20-minute talk or something crazy?
It was 20 operators in 20 minutes.
Close. I mean,
I think we actually got to 21 or 22. I think we threw in a couple extra in there.
All right. Bonus operators?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got it.
Ooh, I knocked over my speaker at some point. Let's fix that. All right. Close that loop.
Close that loop.
Yeah, we did have bonus. You're right there, John. Yeah, it was a good talk. It was lots of fun. It wasn't so much about when to use particular operators or a deep dive into any particular ones, but just to open people's eyes that there's over 100 RxJS operators out there.
That's a lot.
To just say, hey, you know what? Go beyond map and filter to do something else. See what else is out there. Keep your code observable or reactive.
I wonder how often the filter one is used. What do you think is like the most used operator? Map? It's got map, right?
Got to be.
I wonder what the second most used one is. Switch map?
Map.
That map's not a thing yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
That's where I want to go tonight.
Nice.
I get frustrated when I write code anymore. I don't like the map.
Map. Hey, what did we do the other day? We submitted some stuff the other day.
Are we talking about last night?
Oh yeah, last night. It felt like forever
earlier. Yeah, we got ourselves all primed and ready for NGConf by submitting a couple of workshops. Hey, Tintin, how's it going? I'm assuming, well, everyone, I'm going to count myself on that list. Tintin says hi, everyone.
Says hi, everyone, in the chats. Assuming it. Yeah, maybe it was like everybody else in the chat and not us. Or maybe it was like you and not me. We're saying hi anyways. Hi.
I don't know. Everyone is rather inclusive.
Most used for Tintin, tap, and switch map. Oh, interesting.
Oh, I hope you're here early enough for our conversation about the other operator of tap water.
Tap water. I like me some tap operator.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely think it can be used more often.
I think there's definitely some really good use cases for it. As long as you're assured that somebody's subscribing to that observable, assuming it's cold, to be able to make sure the values are going to flow through.
Yeah.
Dig it.
All right, so we submitted some stuff yesterday.
We did. We didn't submit any talks.
No talks.
2 workshops.
2 workshops, but they're like on fair day, right? So it's like kind of like submitting a talk versus like a full-blown workshop that somebody here is doing. One of those. I don't know who that is. It's not my dog.
I'm doing a workshop with Frosty, who was here, and then he left.
And he bounced.
He's like, hey, I'm out.
Yeah, so it's like a talk, like the fair day workshop, which is like kind of like a talk, but longer talk where you actually get to do work as an attendee, right?
Yeah, well, we signed up as 1-hour workshops, but I'd be willing to do either of the ones that we submit as 2-hour workshops.
It's true.
Actually, you know what? I'd even be willing to do either of those as 20-minute talks. I think there's value in those.
I think it needs longer. Well, sure. Yeah, no, I agree. Those could definitely be made into a 20-minute talk for sure. But I think it'd be just, there's so much content that you'd want. I mean, I'd want to talk more about some of that stuff. We can't reveal what it is though.
Can we?
No, mum's the word. We got to keep it. Yeah.
We did 2 really cool things.
But we kind of got instantly excited about some stuff. Yeah. And then we're like, hey, let's submit. And then we submitted. And so it just like happened pretty quick.
How many days is that until we find out? You don't find out until January 10th. No,
January 10th.
No, wait, that's when they're doing selections, isn't it?
I think they said the announcement. Yeah, like they'd have their selections by then. And so then emails would start going out after that or something.
I got you. Hutchinson's back. Hey, Hutchinson, how's it going?
House. What is going on? Yeah, so, okay, we did that yesterday.
That was good. I like that. We got all amped up today on Angular Air.
We did. We had Jeff Welbley on with us talking about accelerated mobile pages and things to think about with that and how to potentially do that with Angular, right?
Mm-hmm. Or at least I think it was very cool and interesting that we talked about the concepts behind there, not just this is AMP and this is what AMP is about. But by talking about the concepts, you can take some of those concepts and not necessarily go all the way to an AMP implementation, but take advantage of some of the concepts to improve the performance of your applications. I thought that was a cool spin and aspect of it, of what we chatted about today.
Yeah, for sure. Because it's like there are those things that you can apply that get you 2 for 1, right? Get you some AMP qualifications, but at the same time, you also get all that performance, right? That's good practice is normal, right?
Mm-hmm.
My favorite, I really love the above the fold term and thinking about that concept, but the term itself, I think, is like really cool I don't know, it's just got this cool vibe to it, above the fold. But
I think it has other connotations too, which I'm less as excited about with that concept, because I think that above the fold is used as just a line to delineate a separation, but it's not totally clear about what that line in particular is in this regard. So I don't know. There's part of me that likes it, and there's part of me that's like, maybe we could do better.
Do better than above the fold, like in the viewport.
Yeah.
On the screen.
Yeah, to represent the initially visible prior to scrolling.
Yeah.
I mean, above the fold is better than that. But
well, the tough thing with the fold, right, is that the fold, the bottom part depends on your aspect ratio and your resolution and all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
So are you truly defining a set fold point, or is it truly the viewport that you're really talking about, trying to identify?
Because I could potentially be on my phone horizontally.
Yep.
Or I could be looking at my monitor in front of me that's 4K turned portrait. There's a big difference there.
Right.
So I don't know how.
Yeah. But at the heart of it, it's all about trying to say, well, performance-wise, what can you get for the viewer is going to be interacting with right away, and then what can you defer off?
I bet you the browser gives you the ability to make that differentiation. Although one of the things that it was talking about is the idea of inlining images through base64 encoding or lazy loading images. And I don't think that, because you need to be able to know the resolution server side, but this doesn't have any server rendering. That's a good point. I don't know.
It's interesting.
I don't know. Or unless the line is just arbitrary of like, all right, primary content, and then you may not see a box for an image.
I think that's most of it is you kind of look and you go, okay, I'm assuming that in most cases, content from here down is going to be off the screen to start or below the fold. So that's the stuff I'm going to defer load, right?
Yeah. Más importante.
Yeah.
That's Spanish for very important.
Very important.
At least I think it is.
Yeah.
I'm not fluent in Spanish.
Me neither. I want to be so bad, and I've tried a few things. If anybody's got a good suggestion for learning it without, like having a class or whatnot, like I would be very open to hearing that. I tried Duolingo, and it was okay, but it was kind of more like tossing terms at me rather than like giving me context, and I didn't feel like it was really guiding me into like fully learning a language, right?
So you're telling me that after Duolingo, you're still solo lingo?
I'm still Unolingo.
Unolingo.
Unolingo. Yeah, I was just like memorizing terms really more than like understanding, building sentences and what, I don't know. So I'm still on the hunt for a good application that'll help me increase my Spanish learning. So
that's fair.
Yeah. Anything else we want to throw out there before we start typing?
I just wanted to let you know that the Sixers are up about 10 right now.
All right. Who are they playing? The Celtics?
Yeah.
All right.
In Philly.
All right.
Yeah. I'm not a huge.
Well, I enjoyed watching my LA teams go at it last night.
I watched some of that, and
the battle for LA
back and forth. I thought LA was really making a strong comeback until LA pulled back ahead.
And then it was all LA from there. It was crazy.
Yeah, I was rather underwhelmed to find out this morning that LA had won the game.
You thought for sure LA was going to win the game, right?
Yeah, totally. I was like, whoa.
Funny.
Yeah. The Bombers versus the Kobe's.
Yeah, right.
All right.
All right, well, let's get after it, huh?
I shared my screen. We can.
All right. Are you ready for me to bring it in?
Yeah, because I want to talk about what I want to do.
All right.
I want to tweak my size here to maximize our potentials.
So tell me what you want, what you really want to do.
I want to code. All right, I'm going to change my language mode. TypeScript. So I just want to write a little bit of pseudocode. Pseudo.
All right, so we're talking about RxJS operators. We're talking about making our own custom operators, right?
Yeah.
All right. So it's kind of like, at this point, not Angular specific. We know we use RxJS in Angular in a lot of different places. So it's kind of born from that, needing to solve some scenarios there. But we're really going to be focusing on RxJS tonight, right?
Whoa, what was that? Okay. So we're going to get, you know what?
Java the Hutt.
I'm going to go to JavaScript because this way it won't complain to me so much. All right, so we're going to get, so this is the idea of simulating like an HTTP GET, right?
We need to share our live stream link.
Are we doing that tonight?
Oh, are we not doing that tonight?
We can do that.
Uh-oh.
It's up.
I don't know.
I think I set it up as read-only and then just gave you access. What's that? Whatever. Words came across my phone. I think it's read-only. Yeah, it is read-only. Oh, see. Look, read-only. I didn't even have to go here. Cool. I can share it in the chat.
All right.
VS Code. Oh. Code live share link. Boom.
There it goes.
Join if you wish. Come explore the codes.
Yes.
Right. So a common scenario that we run into is that you do some sort of HTTP GET call to a URL, right? And that returns an observable in Angular. And then we want to pipe that and do some stuff with it. My font size good tonight, bud?
Yeah. I'm going to prove it. It could probably be one bigger, honestly, but I'll sign off on it. Is this what it was before? If it's the same way as it was before, then we're good. Whatever.
Here, I think we can go to a full 2.
Cranking it to 2. It's like Web 2.0.
Oh,
what are we on now?
I turned it to 11.
Web 11. That's very loud. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing, right? You turn it to 11. No,
okay. Yeah, crank it to 11.
All right. So what happens is you get data back, right, from this HTTP call, and then maybe you have, I don't know, the response is here, and then maybe from the response you get the data.
Yeah.
Where the data is an array, right?
Okay.
Uh,
R. Hutchinson asked, "What rabbit hole we're going to fail in tonight?" Nice.
He said fall.
Oh, fall. All right.
You need to bump your chat resolution up there, buddy.
All right. Sorry, R. Hutchinson, I'm misrepresenting what you said. What are we going to fall into tonight? Okay. We're doing RxJS operators and writing some custom operators. And Mike is going through this scenario right now that we run into that's common.
It's right up here at the top. Right, RxJS operators.
Oh yeah, there's that too.
That's sarcastic me. No, yeah, we're going to talk about some custom RxJS operators. We have a few in mind, but I think it's more about the journey of being able to create some custom operators and test them, play with them, explore them.
Yes.
I like it.
And some things to think about, like what do we, this common stuff that we do that we run into, could we just solve it with writing an operator, right? Rather than repeating the code all the time. Pain point for Brocco.
Yeah, so this is one thing that I hate, is that in here, whenever we're doing this, is that immediately you come in here and all right, that's going to be a function, and then we're going to return data, but then we need to do something with the data. So we come in here, and we need to map that data, right? We're going to get x in whatever, x times 2, right? Or in here, we're actually going to take x, and then x is some sort of function for. So this is, yeah.
We're mapping the array.
Let's go with it. Let's go to items, right? And this is item. And it's a little bit of confusion in here. And then you need to say, all right, well, I want to return only item.
What's up, Nico? More operators go.
I don't know. That's not spread. Don't spread that. Item.id, and then we only want to have like name. So we have item.name. And then we got other stuff. And this is going to be item plus thing 1 plus item.thing2, right? You do all different things within here. And just like a lot of other patterns, I really hate seeing this. We're going to return this and we're going to return that. And it just becomes repetitive. And then it's like, all right, I'm inside a map. All right, well, is that the map for the observable or is that the map for the array? I don't know. And it upsets me. It frustrates me.
It's going to be okay.
Pain point.
Woosah.
That sounds like a Jar Jar Binks thing. Woosah gonna make operators?
Could be. I don't know.
But I mean, I know that I can shorten this too. That, all right, we don't need that return statement here. And we can leave that. And then this doesn't need to, what? Oh, what? Items.map, return. Let's see, what? I'm lost. Another one?
I don't know. You just started deleting parentheses and,
I also don't have a comment here. Where's that? This one goes to here. This one goes to here. That goes to here. And then I need another one of those. There you go. Oh, you know what I didn't? Oh, no, don't save. Comma. Yeah, comma was part of it too. Thank you, Nico. And I know I can get rid of this, and this doesn't have to be a full piece here. And I don't need the return statement. But if I'm going to return an object, then it needs to be wrapped in this. And I could do that, and that kind of frees things up a little bit. But then even still, it's like, all right, well, what's going on here? Which one am I dealing with? Is it the observable map? Is it the array map? I don't like it. I don't like the map.
Map.
Yeah.
Mapping over a array of items that is the value coming through. The array is the value coming through the stream.
Yeah, I think my main concern is the fact when you're dealing with an observable of any type of array.
Right.
Right. I guess
do work over that array as it passes through.
Yes.
Yep.
And then when you have to map that array, or again, if you have to come in here and filter. And what do I need up to the blue? There and whatever.
Right. Because say it happens a lot, right? We hit some endpoint and we get data back, and maybe it's a list of users or a list of orders or that sort of thing. We're dealing with a array set of data, and we want to pluck off just the pieces that we want from that, or map down the data that we want from that. Very common scenario that we end up doing somewhere, right? And then, like you said,
so what I'm proposing, or what I would like to do, is to get rid of the double map. I think this is a very common scenario. And people are trying to map an observable of arrays by mapping each individual item. And I think this piece right here can be its own operator. That's my postulation. And what
I'm excited when you postulate. It's going to lead to good things.
Speaking of which,
or down some holes, but we'll find out, one way or the other. It's going to be a journey.
I appreciate that feedback. I have to give you positive feedback as well.
Okay, good.
It happens on Angular Air, and it happens on here. When you take a step back and say, let's digest what we just went through. And I think it's digest that you use, or break that down.
Mm-hmm.
When you just basically go back to something that we just went through and you recover it. You do an amazing job with that, and props and credit.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I try and when I'm
we're moving on now.
All right, just take it, Schwarty, and that's it.
No, go ahead. I'll let you.
I just wanted to say that when I'm hosting there, what I try and do is I try and be the connection, the voice for the audience, right? So I'm trying to help provide more context, as if thinking, what would the audience be wanting to get more clarity on, or maybe ask on, and I try and be that voice and that bridge and help provide that. So thanks, I appreciate that.
You're welcome. Thank you for doing it.
Sure.
So, all right, so my question is, and I'm going to get rid of this first map because I think it just adds confusion. Is this something that you run into? Do you find yourself doing this a lot?
I do. I mean, yeah,
I'm just making sure.
It's either that, or you just ride with a full set of data, right? That comes back, and then the thing that I find that I'm not a big fan of with the backend returns an array of accounts, and the account data has 20 fields on it, right?
Mm-hmm.
If in my application I'm only going to use a couple of those fields, I prefer to map down that data to exactly what I'm using from it, so that within the context of my app, it's only working with the data that I've explicitly said I'm going to work with. I feel like that helps us, from a standpoint of the app, to reduce complexity, to really focus in on what it's doing, to not have these magic things happen where somebody might come in and add a component to the app, right? And they look at this object called account, and it has these 20 properties on it. So they decide, well, it's got this full name, I'm going to use that or something, right? But the intent was not really to have that coming back from the back end and being using that. But because it's there, there's no instructions that says, oh, don't use this field, right? But when the field's not there, then that's the instructions that says, we're not intending this, right? We're just intending this. So I like mapping that payload down when it comes back. But this is the exact scenario and if you do that, you need to do this sort of thing, right?
Exactly. And again, also with filter is, all right, as part of your UI, you want to filter the data that's being displayed in an array. So you're doing a map, and then you're doing a filter, and you have a lot of context switching in your head to think, is this the observable piece that I'm dealing with, or is this the array piece that I'm dealing with? So getting back to where, and Nico finds him or her, either way, ends up doing this as well. So
And then the filter is different, right? In terms of the filter, the operator filter in RxJS versus the map array filter, right?
Agreed. Yes.
And so then then it can get really confusing on, you're like, well, I need to filter this list down to 10 users instead of the 30. Yeah. But wait, filter operator in RxJS, is that what I want? So yeah. Yep.
So let's go back and just make this simpler just because we're going to duplicate this logic here, right? Actually, here, let's create a function here, and this is going to be pluck items, right? Or pluck props.
Can you refactor in VS Code here and extract it into a method?
I don't know.
Does it let you do that?
Remove braces from arrow function? No. I don't know. I'm not too worried about it.
I'm just, trying to help you with productivity potentials.
Oh, we're good. We're good. We're good.
We can switch to WebStorm and do it.
Stop it.
All right.
All right. And we're gonna, what? No. Stop it. Okay. So this is essentially what we're doing, right? Taking items, and just to be a little bit more explicit, this is going to be an item. And come in here, and this passes in item. So this is what we're doing here. What I would like to switch to do is create my own operator, my map, and then I want to come in here and just be able to say that I want to pluck props. And
wouldn't it be an NGBS map?
Are you on board?
I'm on board. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm in it with you. Hey, I'm here. My webcam feed is here with yours. So whatever you're doing, I'm here. Okay. In agreement. Unless I get in here and type something different. We're going together. We're in this together.
Good. All right. So this is what I'm proposing, is to create an operator that will automatically get into calling the map of the items.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have to worry about creating that dual layer within here. I can just pass in a mapping function that would get applied to the array that comes through there.
Twitch Mara says, you guys have zero info about the channel. Yep, we have zero info about the channel yet. We kind of got started and wanted to start pushing the content out there and doing this. And now I think we're long enough where we need to spend some time and get to that.
I agree.
I'm assuming you're referring to, like, on the Twitch page for NGBS. There's nothing on there. Yeah, we need to put in some time to do that. I agree.
Maybe we should have waited to do our ngconf submissions and done that.
Maybe we should have done that last night instead of the ngconf. I don't know. It's like, yeah, we'll work on that for sure.
We'll have to create a to-do list application to keep track of these things to do.
I mean, do we really need to create one? Isn't there like a gazillion out there? We can just use one.
I've never come across one.
Well, you haven't come across one? I wonder if there's any examples of how to do one. Codephobia, what's going on?
Do we have a website?
Yes, have a website? No, we have a Twitter account, and
we do have a Twitter account. We are. I'll post a link in the chat. Let me get that. Twitter. I can't type.
Well, I'll just drop the overlay.
Yeah, I guess we just covered what we are right in the first stream that we did, but I guess we should revisit.
Well, I think we need to, start doing those other things, right? We need to start updating our Twitch site. We need to start getting some graphics and stuff in here and things like that. So,
I guess our Twitter stream is mostly, hey, tune in here.
Our Twitter account has zero info about what we do. Does it really?
Twitch Mara, we really don't have a whole lot of anything about who we are and what we do. basically it's just the two of us exploring different cool concepts in and around Angular. Like, that's the quick 15-second version. Did I talk that long? Was that 15 seconds?
Yeah. We should probably update our Twitter profile and say that we live stream about Angular stuff, hack on Angular code and stuff like that. That might have a little bit more clue.
As a good point, that Mara brought up, that we did update the topic for our stream, or where was that? What's that called?
Oh yeah, Tintin asked, "What does BS mean in NGBS?" Well, he's Brocco, and I'm Schwarty, and so that's BS.
Yeah. So NG equals Angular.
No, Nico, we tricked you. Doesn't mean that.
Whoa. I like that. Yours didn't autocomplete. I completed to the
compressed sync. All right.
See? Well, there's also a decompressed sync. So,
all right. There we go.
All right. So what I want to get to is the idea of not having to go through this ceremony every single time and basically say, hey, I want to use this operator, which is going to apply this function to each item in my array.
Right.
And initially my mind was, this is called map. We talked about it though, and that didn't work.
Map.
I mean, it's awesome and it's fun to say, but eventually what we settled back to was the idea of doing map array map. So we're mapping through the observable an array through the arrays map function.
Right.
I think that was a little bit more NGBS doesn't sound that friendly. We're sorry, but it's truly who we are. It's Angular plus Rocco plus Shorty.
What's interesting about the operator is that it's intended to be used with a specific shape of data coming through the stream.
Agreed.
Right? Like it's designed to be used with arrays. It's not designed to be used with something else. That's kind of what we talked about map, right? And it's like, well, how it needs to identify that it's actually working with a specific payload type, right?
Yep. That would essentially dictate, like, again, this predicate function would be applied to each item in the array, not each item coming through the observable.
Right.
So that's where we are.
That's where we are. So
that's our idea for tonight. This is the goal, right? Goal. We should do this.
Oh,
sorry.
Too much FIFA.
There we go.
There you go. Nice. I like it.
Oh, not K's, L's. Ooh. All right. So that's what we want to do. So we started. You guys don't want to watch us scale up a project or anything else? We? I? Us? We? I don't know.
You can say you because you did it.
I did. I spun up a project. I did an npm init and got a package JSON. I did a tsc --init and got a tsconfig. I did a copy of a justconfig file.
To add Jest for testing.
I thiefed it. Actually, I thiefed it from something that Justin had set up, but I didn't bring in the narwhal Jest stuff. So, yeah, nothing there.
You Bilbo Baggins it.
Bilbo. Who? Bilbo? Okay.
Bilbo.
It's my precious.
Lucy's.
I created a git ignore, so we're doing that. I created an index file and I created a test function.
All right.
And all it's doing is it takes in a value and it returns it as an observable. Only because I knew I wanted to be testing with observable stuff. And how do we test observables?
With marble testing.
Bags of marbles.
How did a bag of marbles?
I got my bag of marbles right here.
All right. Bag of marbles.
So let's come in here. Oh, update to the stream. I have now converted over. I'm using ZSH as my shell, not bash.
You're using RxJS, right?
I is.
Yeah.
All right. So
Nico asks, is this redemption? For those of you that might not have been here, we hit a snag when we were doing marble testing at the end of the stream. We were doing marble testing where we were trying really hard to solve this marble test scenario. We could not during the stream.
Yeah. It was the timeout, right? We wanted to test the timeout for an HTTP call.
Yeah. We couldn't figure out how to articulate the set of marbles to pull it off. And then the next day you tweeted about it and we got some super help from the tweets and got a solution.
Yep. And that's part of our repo. I got that repo up. Oh, by the way, if anybody wants to play along with this project, it is up on GitHub. I'll put that in the chatty chats. Or you could type it from what you see here.
Type fast.
Type fast, yeah.
Or if you're, doing the live share in VS Code, then you just go and copy it.
That's true.
Many ways, right?
Exactly.
But that repo's up there in the way that we're walking through it right now, right?
Yep. So the only changes I have locally. Hello.
Hi. How's it going?
I got nothing. My source control is empty. I see this tree.
Is that your untitled file? What's going on? That's weird. My source control is not empty. I see Jest config.
Do you?
Yeah.
I don't know. You know what I could do?
Why though?
Did you edit? This config's different. So that's the only thing I've changed versus master than what's up remote is what I just did in the Jest config. So if I did a git diff, is that I deleted 2 comments. That's it. I should submit a pull request for that.
We got more stuff to commit to that pull request.
That's a good point. We're going to do map array map.
Just make a new branch.
Should I not use my aliases?
No, you use your aliases. We just got to mention that you're using your aliases, right?
Yeah, git checkout -b. I have an alias in Git for git cob for a checkout branch to create a new branch. So we're going to create a new branch called map array map.
Right.
Displayed right here on my ZSH. All right. So we're good. And then I have 2 scripts set up, npm run test and npm run test watch. And it's all Jest based. And I'm going to have that run again. No tests found related to files changed since last commit. Okay.
Jest knows.
Jest does know.
Jest knows you did not edit anything.
All right. What am I passing in here? Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
The string. So I can come in here and I can concatenate this on as this. Make this a string. That a string.
Are you trying to break your test right now?
Yeah, it's definitely going to break my test. That's all right. I can fix it. Oh, no. I guess this is a value plus that. Right?
Now you're making a pass.
I did, yeah. So we're good. This has nothing to do with what we're doing. The only reason that this function is here and being tested was to make sure that the repo was set up so that we can actually do what we were hoping to do.
Without all the plumbing, time taken to do the plumbing, right?
Yeah, nobody wants to watch us set up tests or anything else.
Yeah, I mean...
Heck, you didn't even want to work on it with me, Justin.
Dude, we were in the Hangouts together, I think, when you were doing this, right?
We may have been. I don't remember.
So I was here in spirit helping you out. Supporting you.
I'll take it. I'll believe that. All right. We good to get rid of the test function?
You did a good job, by the way. I like it. Huh? You did a good job, by the way. I like it.
Thanks. All right. So we want to export a function. because that's what an operator is, right?
So we're writing the new operator now.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Map array map.
That's a function.
You might have a different name they think would work well for that in the chats. Chat it out.
I'm open to other ideas. I could even change the branch name.
You have a script for that?
I do have a shortcut for that.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Because the actual command is git branch -m.
Yeah.
M? Whatever.
And Mr. Efficiency.
So I can type git rename and type a new branch name.
Boom.
That I remember.
You remember, yeah.
Of course, I also just remembered branch -m too. All right. So what do we want to do here?
So we're making this operator that we're going to do that code that's back in the other file, right, that you highlighted.
Yeah. So what can we put that in here?
Takes the value coming through the observable, and it runs the array map function on it, and calls. Hopefully, takes an observable, right? Do we have to have it taken an observable?
No. It's a higher order function. So it's a function that returns a function. What? Seriously? It is. All right, but whenever we call this,
not a first order.
No, it's a higher order function. So it's a function that creates a function.
But you're talking in terms of functions versus like higher order observables and first order observables.
My wife is popping popcorn and it sounds good. Sorry.
Nobody heard that. I didn't hear that.
I can hear it. I'm like, ooh, popcorn. But I'm going to have to stick with my pretzels. We're good. I'm sorry. I appreciate that. I apologize for that.
That's all right. You appreciate that. I appreciate my own interruption.
I'm important.
So when it comes to observables, we have this concept of higher order observables and first order observables, right? Higher order observables being like observables of observables where we're like switch map and things like that, right? And first order observables being like map.
Yes.
So are we like writing an operator for first order?
Yes, for first order. So what we want to do is we want to manage this scenario. Const x is of type this, right? We want to be able to handle when something like this is coming through.
Right.
So going back to go up here, putting this back down. So when we call this, we need to be able to pass in a function. Right? Right.
Right. But maybe we should talk about like what a operator does when it's dealing with like the first order, right? Doesn't that operator take in an observable and then return?
We'll get to that.
Or you want to get to it in a different order? Okay.
We can. Unless you want to. I think it makes sense though to have this though. Because I mean, if you were doing this through a TDD scenario, right? I set up a function here, and that function needs to take something in because we already played with it here, right? We know what we want to do. So we want to have an operator, whatever that may be, that takes in a function, right? That takes in something.
Right.
And returns something else. Right? So this is a function. And it takes in something and returns something else.
Right. Tintin asked, higher order is when you return an observable from an operator, no? Like switch map?
Yes, that's a higher order observable.
Observable of observables.
Yes.
That's what a higher order takes in, is it's an observable of observables. Yeah.
Exactly. This would be a higher order function in that it's a function that returns a function. So what we're going to get to is the point that we're going to return a function. Right?
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, this is going to take in, I want to set this up too because it has types. So we have a type and then we have a return value. Actually, it just returns an R, right? I think that's how I have that set up. Yeah. Or more explicitly value, right? So we have a function that takes in a value of some type and returns something of another type. That's what map does, right?
Right.
And
it takes a value and an index, but in that function. But yeah,
that's true. We could do that as well.
And I know that I'm looking at the source code of that. I'm not pulling that out of my head.
No, it works.
Like, I can answer that question because I'm looking at it right here. I have it pulled up.
I mean, here it is with the IntelliSense, right? You take a callback function, an index, and an array.
Right. Codephobia says, ooh, generics. Yes. Generics are fun, huh?
Mm-hmm.
I think so we're talking everything in between the chevrons, right? That we can declare the type.
But you don't have to pass in the index and the array. They're optional, right?
Right.
I guess do they need to be marked as optional? Yeah, probably. Only because here, let's go to the definition of map. These don't define them as optional. All right. I'm not making mine optional.
Well, then the array would be after the function, right? Or is that?
No, if we look at what it takes in, because you can have a third argument as well, and you can get the array, the full array. This way, as you're mapping, if you need to look at a previous or a different value in the array, you have that context within there. It may have overloads. Let's go back and look at the definition again. No, there's only one. This is from the TypeScript library.
What version of RxJS is that you have in this project?
I don't know.
All right, I'll look.
All the versions.
All of the versions.
Yeah, I got this way everybody else can see too.
6.5. And you don't have it pegged, so it's
at least 6.5.3.
All right.
But I did this like a day or two ago. I don't know, not too long ago. So it's probably up to date. Find it out, Justin. All right. Enough of the types. We've got types now. All right. Does this all make sense? We're taking in a function that does mappy stuff. And then we need to return a function that does stuffs.
This is where it always gets crazy, I think, is when you have a function that returns a function. So you're like wrapping it, the creation of that function with some context, essentially, and scope, and then passing things through. So it's not like our typical, this is just a function that calls and returns a value. You're like, I'm using this function to create this function that it returns, that then something else is going to call that returned function to pull it all together. And that's what I talked about earlier, which is the fact, like in these operators, the operators take in a observable and return an observable for these first order observable operators, right? And so it's like, where's the observable part? When does the observable get handed into this function that we're creating?
Yep.
And here is where it happens, right?
Yep. So I think this is complaining that I don't have it. I think it's saying that I don't have the generics on it. Yep. Generic type requires one type argument. So this is what's going to actually handle the processing of the observable. right?
Right.
It's going to take in an observable and return an observable to be able to allow that stream to continue to flow through.
And so here, let's where's your? I'm not following you. Where you? I mean, I'm mentally following you. I'm not physically following you in VS Code, which is digital because it's on like, yeah, okay. I'm gonna type something here real quick.
Mm-hmm. You don't need to do that. You can do it off of X and actually do something.
Vex, what?
No, we have X up top here, so you can say X.pipe.
Oh, okay. Well, we don't have our operator or whatever, right?
Whatever. Go ahead.
Okay.
Do you?
Let me do that. I can just do this like. Right. So there's going to be this observable. It's going to call the pipe method, which then is going to have this operator that we're writing that when this gets evaluated, this is going to return this function that then the pipe method is going to work off of to handing that the observable and getting back the results.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So again, this is going to be working off of an array that's coming through here. This is what we're talking about here. So
right. The observable that it's going to get handed has array values coming through it.
Right. Yep. So the source of what's coming in is like previously higher up in the pipe chain there is an observable of the expected value to come in, except we're actually expecting to get an array of those.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because as in here, X is an array here. Right? So here, let's do this. Let's say const X is equal to an array there.
So map array map, that you wouldn't have an array right here?
No, this is just saying the generic, that there's just some sort of thing type of T, right? There's some sort of type that is a generic that is represented as T. And in here, the observable that's coming in is the array, an array of those things.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
As I started playing with that, or is T actually, do we have another thing in here called U? And then that's in here. And then you have T, which extends U, which is actually a U array. And it just got to be way too much. It was way overcomplicated. If you just specify that you have two different generics, what's coming in and what's going out, you can use that to represent the type for the function that's going to be applied, the predicate function, as well as applying the array internally to say, hey, I'm getting that in.
But the type coming in is not an array of T? The type coming in is just one of T's?
Correct.
Okay.
But this is the function that's getting applied to it, so it's an observable of arrays.
Yeah. Observable of T's.
Yeah, of T's. And then what you're expecting to come out is actually an array of type R.
Map in, map out. Mm-hmm.
Yep. So we're expecting an observable of arrays to come in, and going out the other end is an observable of some other array.
Right.
Okay.
Let's type those real quick. Let's type some pretend stuff up here, right? So we have like an interface. We want to call it user, right?
Yeah. Those are a little bit off too.
On who, what?
What I have here is a little bit off, but we'll get to that.
And then we were like interface our user. Right, let's just go full name. How about that? So we're going to get an array of these users coming in, and we're going to map them to an instance of our user. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Like in this case, T would be user, and well, yeah, just add it right here, right? Our map array map would be user, our user, something like that.
Yep.
Okay.
And just to continue that, this is a function here. Return that. I break this? Oh no, this is an object, and this needs to be full name is going to be equal to item dot first name plus item dot last name. With
Tim ask about, can we make an example like the RxJS docs of what should be the output for the given input? Yeah. Let's do that. I'll do that. While you do this, I'll do that. Because I actually made a PR to the RxJS docs the other day.
Hold on. I don't want to get too far into this. I want to get into this.
Yeah, I'm multitasking, dude. You do this, and I'll do this. I'll figure out.
We can't both explain what we're doing.
No. We'll focus. You focus on what you're doing right here. Good. I'm just gonna get some additional documentation that helps describe what you're doing.
All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to leave what I have and change that up a little bit. So instead of saying just what the return type is, it's actually going to be the function here. And it's going to return a new observable.
So you're not using a type here?
I am. It's right here. It's already defined. It's inferred. I could leave that here.
Type inference right now, yeah. Right?
I just don't need that because it's being created right here.
Okay.
All right. So then I have a subscriber. And on that subscriber, yeah. So in here, I want to subscribe to my source observable. Cool.
So this function is going to be handed an observable, which is the incoming first order observable, and then it's going to subscribe to that. Yep.
Yeah.
And it's going to return the subscription.
Yes.
I'm just reading through here. Yeah.
That is correct. That's what that's going to return. Okay. And then when we subscribe here, we're going to call next. We're define next, and we're going to do error and complete. Right. And then here we want to call this on the subscriber.next. Our error. We don't want to call that. We want to next is a function that takes in the value, calls subscriber.next, and passes that value back out. That's going to give us a type error, but we'll deal with that in a second. And I'm using the reference of what I worked on earlier. So I'm just going to fill in the error handling and the complete handling. Cool. And what this is complaining about here. Hey, Justin.
Yeah.
We're going to be creating types there, buddy. Or tests.
Yeah.
So what we have is everything just about set up except for right in here. Nico's asking if we have to name them or we could just pass the function in. I think it's moving to better to specify this here. I mean, you could, because I think there's overloads for subscribe. So you could just pass in an observer that there, or you could pass them in as separate arguments, or you could pass them in as an object. So I think this is a little bit clearer, especially when you're defining an operator. This makes a whole lot of sense. So if we look here, the value that we're getting in here is of type T array. So we've got some T's coming in here. So on the subscriber.next, what we actually want to take out is that we want to take that thing. So we have T. We know what T is, right? That's our array. And then we want to map that array. So again, here's where we're dealing with the array map. And then what we want to do with that is actually call our function. That was a lot. Does that make sense, Justin? Are you following along? Anyone else have any questions within there?
Yeah.
Do you want to break it down, Justin?
Sure.
You want me to break it down?
We got our observable coming in,
yeah,
and we're subscribing to it within this function. The function that we're returning from this operator. Inside of that function, we are subscribing to the observable that's getting handed, and we are returning the subscription from that. And in our subscribe function, we are setting up handlers for dealing with next, error, and complete based on the subscriber that is coming in, right? This is the subscriber that we're creating a new observable. Yeah. Okay, so I got to back up here. That's the challenge, right? With the nesting of this function, returning a function, which is returning an observable, right?
Yes.
So the function that's operator is returning is taking in the observable it's getting handed, and it's returning a new observable. And when it creates a new observable, it is defining the subscriber that's going to handle the subscription of that and the next and the error complete functions off of that. Right. And so that's where it's going to do the work of doing our mapping logic, that we're receiving in this map function.
Yep.
This custom map function that we want to hand it to do the work. And anytime a new value comes through the subscription that this thing is receiving, the observable that this thing is receiving, we will turn around and use next on the other observable that's going out the door to pass that new value back out through that observable.
Correct.
And in the end, we have the operator is returning this new observable that will have a way to send values out through it, which is our map value. Whew. It's a hard thing to describe.
Yes.
To hit all the points right in the description of it. It's like, yeah.
So I will say that a lot of what I got for this was not stuff that I came up with off the top of my head. I went back and watched Ben Lesch's ngConf talk from this year. And I am going to share that in the... actually, do you want to do a popover, Justin?
Sure. You got the URL? You want me to grab the URL?
I'll do both. I'll put it there for the overlay for later. And then that's the link to Ben's talk from ngConf 2019. There's a little bit of an intro about what's coming in RxJS from Tracy, and then Ben gets into talking about building operators. So this pattern here is exactly what we're talking about. And he talks about some other scenarios as well, but I think this makes a whole lot of sense to me. It's robust and is building upon the structure that the structures that are provided.
I feel like it takes a little while to digest. I remember years ago when I was diving into this stuff and writing this kind of thing, and it's like, wait, whoa, okay. You kind of had to go over it several times to kind of take it all in and really understand, like, we've got this function that's returning a function that's then taking an observable that's returning an observable that in that new observable is handed a function for dealing with subscriptions and subscribing. Like, there's a lot going on in, like, what do we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 lines of code. Like, there's a lot compacted into that.
Right.
Mentally, right, to the mind map of what's going on there. Just 9 lines of code is crazy, I think. Cool, powerful, but it's hard. I feel it's hard to digest all just looking at it all as a whole, right?
Yeah. Because I think we could also come in here and say, all right, use what's already there, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be 2. And then essentially return something that takes an observable and returns an observable. I know what does that. Map. If you don't already have RxJS op operators, it doesn't want to find it.
Our Hutchinson just asked, but can you, a silly question, but can your custom operator be simplified by leveraging RxJS map operator inside of maps array map?
Yep.
Map array map, and that's what you're in the process of doing.
Yeah, so this is going to be the array, and then what we're going to return out is array.map. And I guess we should probably specify that this is of type T and R, and array is of type T, array, an array map, and we're going to pass in function. What don't you like about that? T is not assignable. Oh, this is a T array, sorry. I'll return that.
It's not a T-Rex.
There we go. So those are the same thing.
Wow, that's a lot simpler to read right there.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. And then there's also a lot less testing involved with that, because if we were to go look at the source for not that map, this one. Pardon me. I'm excluding my node modules. There we go. If we look at everything that map does, it does a whole lot more, and a whole lot of handling. I'm assuming there's some error handling in here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it'll be safer to do that rather than doing the full implementation ourselves.
Right.
And again, right, lift ourselves up. I mean, this is good to know, but I think for what we want, it makes sense to use what's there.
Yeah.
Hutchinson, I agree. So this is going to be map, array map, excessive. And this is just going to be map, array map.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Why do we break this? Or was that broken? Oh. Because I need to return that.
We need to return it, yeah.
Yes. That makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. Tintin asks, so you can take an array and emit that array with each element mapped. Yep, that's exactly the point. And do I need to specify that? Do we know? Well, we know what that is. But this is just array. Does it know?
You just want to.
It doesn't know.
Tintin says you just want to emit one array, not emit each element of the array. Correct. That's the challenging thing, right? When you have an observable that is the payload is an array, right? Each value coming through it is an array versus a value. I feel like that's one of the things that gets confusing when people dive into observables, and then they're trying to get that mental map of what's going on. And when there's having one value coming through, I mean, it's always just one value, right? But having that value being like an object or a primitive versus say an array, then things get kind of crazy, right? To think about that. Like, and this is that scenario where like I want to do operations over the data that's in that array, right? But still the observable is dealing with a full array object that's going through. So you got to get in there, work within it, and then bundle back up and then send that whole array out. Yeah.
Exactly. Array in, array out.
Array in, array out.
And that's
Great.
what we're doing. This knows what that is, and this knows this returns an R because that's what the type is here. Yep. I think that's good. Boom.
Cool.
But how do we know it works?
Well, we should have done some TDD, but you want to do the test. Let's test after writing code.
It was excessive, right? But I mean, you need to test it.
Is it talk? We're gonna do some wait. Oh, you just switched files.
What are you doing? Where are you? Oh, you're in the spec file. Okay. Talk.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, I am.
TDD. We're doing talk.
Hutchins asks if it's non-operator because it's too hard of a name. I think it's just that I don't know how many people are actually going to get value out of using it.
I feel the answer is that because it's dealing with a specific payload, right?
Yeah.
I mean, unless I'm trying to rack my brain and think about, are there operators in the RxJS library that are designed to deal with a specific value type, right? Coming through.
I think they're built to be generic to allow you to utilize the observable pattern.
Right.
Yeah.
And so is array map too specific that's something that wouldn't live in RxJS library at the heart of it, right? It would almost be like an extension for it.
Yep.
It'd be my guess.
All right. I'm going to get rid of all of this. Should map. I had a good should statement in my previous test. I'm going to copy it. Cool.
Yes, of course. Should map the items of the array.
Yes.
Okay.
So essentially what we want to have is we want to create an array and an observable of values. Right?
Sure.
It's going to bug me, so I'm going to put that up here. Pluck is specific. Pluck takes a single value off of a object. Yeah. That's not what we're doing. Map is, you can do more than one thing. You could dynamically build properties or whatever. Pluck is, the way I like to think of it is it's a very specific implementation of map. All right. So we have an observable of things, right? Yes? No?
Yes.
And we want to keep track of what that is. So this is going to be our result. And we want to pipe that through our operator. Right? And just to test if it works, if we take in this array of numbers, or this observable of array of numbers, and we'll go through the common scenario of just doubling them.
Mm-hmm.
Does that work? So what we would expect to come out of this is 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. 10.
Like that, right?
Yeah. Look at you go. Why don't you do that?
I did it in the other file.
Oh, look at that. Yeah. So that's what we're expecting, right?
Right.
So I guess what we would expect Because that's how we write our test, right? We get the actual, so we can call that actual.
I'm going to add another one in here too, because I think this makes it a little clearer. So let's go.
So we're expecting from this to get it back a cold observable. And because we're using of, we need our bag of marbles, right?
Right.
Where A is going to be equal to an array of 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we could say expect actual to be observable result, or expected.
Postal Rat, hi Postal Rat, says, I was thinking the other day how a coders versus testers website would work. I wonder what you're referring to in that, in terms of like how coders or developers think versus how testers think, and like the comparison between the mindset that goes into that, or I wonder something else. Let us know.
Justin, our tests have been running this whole time in the background.
It's because you put it in watch mode, right? Watch mode.
But I don't want any spoilers, so I killed it before while it was running.
All right.
All right. So does this make sense? All right. What I put here as a test. That we're getting the actual is an observable that starts with these values, goes through our custom operator, takes each item. So it'll get 1 and it'll multiply it by 2 and get 2. Take in 2, double it and get 4. Right? I like it. And then we're expecting to get that out as an observable with these values. I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm running our test.
All right. Well, that's running. Postal Rat says, like coders implement functions like an add function takes an A and B, and testers write test. And there would be some sort of game, like coders need to write functions that are wrong, but pass test. That'd be interesting. That'd be interesting. What I like about that concept is that, you know, one of the things I talked about in our testing stream that we did, we talked about tests before, is I like to teach and talk about the mindset for writing tests is different from how we architect applications. And the mindset that we have when we write applications is very much reuse code and build for optimization and things like that. When we write tests, we want to be isolating the test experience to have a clean set of sample room where each test can operate on its own. And so something like that would have people doing the development of the code thinking in terms of architecture, and then people who are writing the test thinking purely in terms of testing. And it'd be interesting to see.
Yeah. So if I was over here, we don't have the real estate to be able to do that through our live share here. But if I were over here writing functions and you were over here writing tests, could be an interesting stream concept.
Yeah. And then you mentioned, you know, having like some gamification of it where the coders need to write functions that are wrong or something, but pass the test. That's a really good thing to think about in terms of unit testing. And when you write these tests is, you know, sometimes it comes down to, did you write enough coverage for different scenarios to really discover things? And a good example of that today on some code that I was in and working on is there was this function that took a value and determined a different value to return. And it had like a if else or like switch statement, and it did like 3 different return values. But there was a fall through value that says, hey, if I didn't find a match from what you're handing in, fall back to this default value, right? And then there's other code that used that in passing in a value, that would always get back at least some value. But the code that was written in the other spot really would be better to work if it was able to identify that there was no match from that other function. And it was very hard to see, even if you set up test cases for the known thinking of how you're going to use that, it was a really specific test that had to be written to identify that code would fail, right? And that's a really good example of you have to have that's something that you wouldn't discover unless somebody runs the app and happens to hit that data set, right? And that becomes real challenging when I've got an application out in the wild and I need to wait for somebody to actually have that data set to hit that problem. And then if they do, I have to try and get that information from the person who hit that. Like, what did you use? What were you doing? What were the values? Like, what did you configure to replicate it, right? But even in sitting there thinking about, I've got these tests, I've written these tests, sometimes it's hard to discover all the things that may end up breaking it that you want to write a test for.
It's a good point.
It's interesting.
Yeah. So to me, this is just so much easier to understand than the idea of writing, all right, I want a map. And then inside there, I get my items. And then in here, I need to take, all right, those items. I want to map those items and get item. And then inside there, I want to take item. I want to return item times 2. That would be comma and
catch up on the chat real quick. R. Hutchison mentioned map 2 is syntactic sugar for switch map returning of string. So I feel like this would be equally valuable unless I misunderstood map 2. Map 2 is to just return a set value, not regarding the value that's coming in, right?
Yeah, so if we come back up here and we look at map 2. So this is mapping every click to the string hi.
So map 2 is really dealing with first order observables. It's taking an observable and returning.
Well, to be clear real quick, we are talking about a first order observable. This isn't a higher order observable.
Right, where switch map works with a higher order observables.
Correct.
Right. So it's not really, as far as I understand, not really syntactic sugar for map 2 is not syntactic sugar for switch map.
No, it is not.
Value, because it's that map 2 is actually working with first order observables, which is an observable of a value, and returning an observable of value.
Exactly.
And so map 2 is that fact that like you don't care about what the value coming in, you're always going to return some other fixed value going out when you map 2.
Exactly.
Pretty much kind of the value coming in is gone at that point in that observable chain.
So yeah, between writing this and writing this wins every time for me. That's what has me excited about the concept of what we're talking about here.
I think that the only thing that I can see is challenging with that is that it's that concept that like here the function that we're handing it, right, that x times 2 is for each item in the array that's being handed in, right?
Yes.
And I think it potentially muddies it, makes that challenging thought process where the value coming through the observable is actually an array, not each item of the array that's getting.
We see that with the IntelliSense coming up here. The X in this case is the actual number, whereas this one here is the array.
Right. And it's, you'd have to like, but if we're in a PR and we're reviewing a PR, we don't have IntelliSense, right? So you're just
not always true there, buddy. There's this whole little another extension down here.
If I'm reviewing a PR on Bitbucket or Git, I am not having IntelliSense on this code that I'm looking at. I have raw text that's color coded, right?
I'll give you that.
All right. So, I mean, do you do your PR reviews in VS Code? If so, I'm missing out on something, and maybe that's where I need to do my PRs reviews.
I don't, but I want to. I'm pushing to GitHub.
But so right now, so when I'm reading this, like I have to interpret this code from just text on a web page and try and wrap my mind around what's happening, right? And so when I can see getting the confusion where it's like, well, is X the thing that's coming through the observable, each value coming through? No, it's it's actually an array of X that's coming through the observable that we're using this operator on, right?
Yeah.
You go with that?
Yeah, I get it.
In terms of how that would make it more readable, human readable, but I can see that was one challenge, right? Simplifies it, but it's also still becomes a potential challenge there. Boogie Slow 805 says bamboozled. That's my buddy. We've been playing too much Apex. You got bamboozled.
I don't know that one. All right. I want to write another test using an object.
Okay. Joe and Jan Doe.
Object items. Numeric.
Or Joe and John Doe.
No, I was doing chain.
Oh.
And then what I want to return out is object, and it's just going to be name is going to be x dot first. So a template string, say x dot first name space x dot last name. All right. So here, what we would expect to come out are two different objects. Property name of John Doe. Another object, the name of Jane Doe, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're passing in these objects, and then we're map array mapping it to return out just the first name plus last name as concatenated with a space in between. And we save that. Jodo. Oh, what? Thank you. Good catch, Hutchinson. John and Jane. And then we pass. Cool.
Now I want you to write a test.
Yeah.
That feeds in a value, an object, instead of an array.
This would be okay. It okay. So what's your it on that?
What do we want it to do when it's handed an object? It should error out.
I think we're going to run into some issues here. Not with that. So if I were to call map array map, and then we want to take X, and what do you want to do with it? Just return X?
Sure.
It's not going to work because it's going to tell us that unknown blah, blah, blah is not assignable to type of this object.
Right. You're not going to be able to write this test in TypeScript without telling TypeScript to chill out. Right. Because we get type safety here that's nice and protecting us. But we can put an any on it and be like, yes, I want this test to be tested. Because not everybody's going to be using this from TypeScript, and it could.
You got me flustered. What are we expecting?
Well, what happens when in the RxJS library when it encounters an error, an issue, right? An error that's not used right, like a hard error. I mean, are we considering this? Would this be a hard error? You know, like what do we want the behavior to be when this thing receives not an array?
Yeah. I wanted to clear my terminal first. We didn't see what happened because I accidentally saved.
All right.
So what I would expect then is that this would error out.
Well, it's going to throw a JavaScript error, right? Exception, because it's going to try and do work off an object that's not an array, right? It's going to try to call map off of an object, which the map property doesn't exist. Map method doesn't exist in that object prototype.
I agree.
So what's the behavior that we want our operator to do? Do we want that to hard fail and throw an error and try and like write a nice error message?
Yeah. So to be clear, you're talking about in this scenario,
right?
Inside of here, it's going to throw because map as a property, even though it's functional, whatever, does not exist on the value coming through.
Right.
So we'll throw that exception.
Right. And so it's not even going to return an observable. It's just going to hard fail.
I think so. I think the observable is going to just error out there.
Right.
Only because we're working inside the confines of the existing map operator, which already handles exceptions internally, if some exception is thrown. So I think that this test is going to pass. And
actually return an observable error. All right, let's run it. We didn't describe it though. It should. There we
go. When the value is not n.
Yeah. While that's running, Pulsarat says, would it be acceptable to test X is triple equals to the objects that were in the of, and that the objects that come out are triple equals to the ones mapped to? And so referring to the previous test that we had.
What? We're getting a lot of error here. Okay, so our third one, our test is failing.
Right. See, because we get our JavaScript error.
Right.
I expected. And I didn't expect that. I was expecting that RxJS and everything would just fail at that point, because it's really the line of code in our operator that's failing, right? Yeah. And I don't think there's like a try catch around that. So that there's not a try catch around that. We see there's not a try catch around that, because that's actually code that's being run inside of our map array map that we wrote, right? It's not actually happening inside of. Well, it is. I get.
It's happening inside map.
Yeah, but we're calling map, right? So like we're executing the return function that that map returns, right? Or I don't know, whatever. It's throwing a JavaScript exception.
Okay, this gives us the ability to do that. But so is this what we expect to happen?
I don't feel like it should. I feel like the observable, it's not really an error in the sense of like what you would expect from an observable error. I don't feel like initial thought is that it was used with the wrong data coming through it. So should you know about it? I don't know yet. I'm open to thoughts.
Okay, let's try this. Let's see what happens if we use map and define the function inline here.
Okay. My money's on same thing.
It is. Okay, so let's go back to where we were. So what I would say that we should do here is that result. Put a try catch in here.
Okay, while you're doing that, I'm going to try and answer postal rat.
Okay.
To mention what I mean is if the objects that go in the of function call are expected to be the same ones being mapped, should that be tested? Like if you pass an object, you are in fact getting the same ones to and from the map. So our map is calling the array map, which is returning a new array of new objects. So going through the flow, those should be new objects coming out. So comparing the quality of it, it would be about identifying the values all within that, right? Versus the actual strict equality of the objects because they're not the same objects.
Yeah.
Right.
But they should. Recording them and testing that they are the same. They shouldn't be the same because coherent or the idea of map is to change from one thing into another thing. So they should inherently be different, both different memory allocations as well as values.
Right.
So what do we assume should happen inside of here? How would we handle this in the scenario of writing this code?
So I guess the same way, right? Just let the exception throw itself and flow out. So we'd expect that if it's used like that, then we would see the same type of exception.
Yeah, but correct me if I'm wrong, but is there not a to me, that's what we should be doing, where this is actually throwing an observable error. Not
Throw error is throwing observable error, right?
yes.
But we just want to throw the error.
I don't think we do.
What are we trying to do?
I think that this should be what happens is that the observable should go into an error state if something is coming through of the wrong type that doesn't have map.
So if you do that and somebody uses this operator and has an error handling for it that say redirects the app to an error page or whatnot, or maybe something else, right?
Hold on for a second. Why are we... So we expected this. We expected an error. And we're getting a completion.
Because throw error completes. Right? You have to put that thing in a bag of marbles.
I think I do. Is that this? No. Kind next. I still think it should just end up erroring.
Is this our same empty scenario that Jave helped us with?
No, because this isn't. That was in regards to timeout, and we had to use never.
Never, right? That's right. Nevermore.
This is something a little bit different because here we want to throw an exception when this has happened. So if we can't do this, we want to throw an error. This returns an observable, whereas this is returning that. Do we return throw error? I don't. That doesn't sound.
Oh right. Yeah, no, we don't want to return an observable right there, right?
Yeah, I know, Hutchinson. It didn't make me happy either.
I think you need to throw the error there, and then we would need to have our map also do a throw error inside of it, or throw it like pipe with our map and throw error.
I have no idea what you just said, Justin.
This should just throw the error at this level here.
If that's the case, then we don't need this. We don't need the try catch. It'll just throw the error.
Right. So can we have our map array map return a pipe call that takes map and throw error?
Let's go back to this. That's where we were, right? And what are you talking about doing now?
So this is the map operator that we're using, right?
Yep.
And so we're handing it a function. So that function needs to take a value and return a value at that level, right? So we're not returning a observable from that function. So what I'm wondering is, where are we at? Look at this code. Could be something like that. Is that even a thing? In order to handle the error that map would potentially throw?
That.
It's pipe off of the operator, though. I don't think that pipe is a function of an operator.
Yeah, but pipe's not a. Pipe is just a function. That's a good point. Do we need to catch error in the test? But this has nothing to do with that, right? This isn't. There's nothing in here that is it's observable. It's just an operator at this point. Let me go back to this for a second. See if we can read some code in here. When this calls next, this is our function that takes in a value and returns a value, right? So it's projecting. So this only checks to see if it's a function. And then it throws a type error.
Like what I feel like is I feel like it should just do the same thing that like map would do with an error. It would just throw the JavaScript error, and then our unit test would just do a try catch around it and confirm that an exception was thrown.
I don't know if that's right or not.
Then it's behaving just like map, right? Like the manual function that you wrote to pull that off, the same thing that our operator does. If that error is out, that's the expected behavior. I would think that we'd want to match that and not do anything uniquely different, right?
Yeah. All right. So let's leave this as is then. And you're
I think what you're doing is throwing an error message that is a little more helpful than say, that wrapping the error message that is thrown by JavaScript about the map property not being available, and add a more descriptive that says, hey, our map array map did not receive an object that wasn't an array, right? A value that wasn't an array, it received something different.
like that.
Yeah.
This will actually make it subscribe.
Yeah, I see what you did. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Oh, because you have to like do to observable or so, or like how does it's not doing the. I see where.
I could do this.
Yeah. Yeah.
That should be the same thing though. Must be a function. Oh,
bracket. Interesting.
See, Nico's asking where it is.
Reload.
There we go.
There. Yeah. Yep. And then what I think might be cool that we could do is check the type, the instance of the value coming in. And if it's not an array, then let's throw an error, but let's write a friendly message that says map array map did not receive a value of an array. What do you think about that? I guess we would need to do a try catch if we wanted to rethrow or have the error stack, the actual error stack that JavaScript would throw to be a part of our new error message, right? Though.
Yeah. This takes in what, a string? What did I put there? I don't know if I saved both of them fast enough. So I'm going to rerun that test now that I have both of them saved. Cannot read property operator of undefined. What?
Wasn't that the same error we got a second ago? That was like, so it's like to throw error. Do the same thing as to throw. Maybe there's something different there.
I think it's talking about what the error that it should be throwing, right? So it says cannot read property operator of undefined.
To throw takes a string, error string.
Does it?
Back to to throw and see what that does. Same thing. Can't read it.
What operator is it failing on?
Observable TS. Does it have to return something after that throw?
I don't think so.
It's weird.
You know I'm not doing that? That shouldn't make a difference. Because throw is, all right, get the hell out.
Right.
See, I said that, but throw error doesn't make sense here.
Yeah, because this is just the function that's working with the value. It's not actually returning an array. It's returning observable. It's returning the actual value. Right. So
yeah. Nico wants the VS Code live share link, I believe. Here, Nico, you're welcome. No problem. I am not sure here, Justin. To me, that should be flowing out. All right, so let's come back up and go back and re-explore. So I'm going to comment that out. We're going to go back to using map, and this is supposed to be items, and then inside here we want to say items dot map item returns item. Right?
right.
Except we have this, we want to return.
Right. Right.
And we want to put this here. And so let's save that and see how that works. I'm assuming we'll get the same error. Cannot read property operator of undefined. The outer subscriber should error. Yeah. Tintin, that's I appreciate that link, but that's pointed at switch map, which is an observable of observables. Here we're just looking at having a custom operator. So what I would look at from there would be the map operator itself.
Yeah, because switch map, if it has an error inside of it, it would want to return a throw error because switch map needs to return an observable rather than a value. Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting that like if you let JavaScript just throw the error, then it's fine, right?
Yeah.
But if we try and do our own error logic in here,
Yeah, because looking at the actual implementation of map, it's calling error on the subscriber, which we don't have access to at this point. Actually, nothing in here has to deal with the subscriber.
mm-hmm.
No.
Well, we just have it, it would just throw its regular error, right? And we just have the unit test that confirms that it threw a JavaScript error in that case, right?
Yeah. But I still think that it shouldn't end up doing that.
Boogie Slow is like this and subscribe. We don't have subscribe set up yet, though, but thanks. You can follow us on Twitch.
Yeah, definitely follow it. This way you can find out when we stream again.
We qualified to do subscriptions, but we just haven't set all the plumbing up for that yet so that people can subscribe.
Yeah.
Appreciate being our hype person, though, for sure.
Absolutely. Could you also assert inside the error handler of subscribe? Or do you want to use another way? Well, I tried to do that through marbling. This is going to be our going to be a function, right? And then here we just say that errored is equal to true. Down here we want to expect that errored to equal true.
Is that going to work outside the subscribe?
Yeah. Only because subscribe. This is it's all synchronous.
So yeah.
So we subscribe to it. It hits error and then sets that flag, and we tested it. It was hit. I don't advocate this, by the way. Just to see exactly what error message is coming out here.
Yeah.
Then, okay. So, no, I refuse to accept this right now. So if we comment that out, and then
So the reason then the call to subscribe is successfully subscribing. It's not throwing an error.
No. I that's fine to me.
That's why. That's what we're seeing. That's why. Right. That's why our test of that before was a problem, was because subscribe is returning a subscription at that point.
No,
right?
I got you on that one. I agree. That's bad. This should work though.
Bad. I'm just that's what's happening, right? That the observable chain is capturing that thrown error inside of our code and handling it in the way that it would, which would be return an error through the observable chain, right?
Right, but then that means that it should be the same as this. But it doesn't. Is it because I just have the wrong error here?
Yeah, because it's not just error, right? It's a specific type of error.
So I'm supposed to do this?
Can you define the error?
I don't know.
Error, yeah, look, values any, error any. Yeah. Do you have to pass it
Hold on.
value for that second parameter?
Values, we don't want that. And what are we expecting?
Argument is not an array.
Wow, that was real bad. I'm super flustered. I guess I should bring the console back up.
Green, baby, green. You like it.
All right, so that means that we can take this, put it back in here.
Yeah. Time to go to bed, Nico says. Yeah, you're on that clock. I know it's late, really late for you. All right, Nico, nighty night. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Absolutely. Thanks for hanging out. Let that test run and see if we're catching from within our piece here. And we are passing again.
All right. So let's just make that error message friendly, right?
Okay.
I would say value here. I can type it. You want me to type it? Easier.
Postal Rat is saying it wasn't easier to test when the error was created in the test. After Justin's done testing this, can you copy that, Justin?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to switch over to index. So it was easier while we were in place, but that was using the map operator. So we don't want to test map because we assume that map works. We just want to have a consistent experience. So Justin, if you can put that here.
In the
spec? Yeah, on line 57. What you copied?
Yep.
You need a tick.
Did it miss the tick?
Yeah. Okay. So what we want to do is test that whenever we pass in something into map array map that is an object and not an array, that it's going to throw an exception of this type.
That will get caught by the observable, and the observable will emit out the error state through the observable chain, right?
Yeah, and we proved that we were successfully doing that by having an error handler here, but rather than working through that confines, it makes sense to do it through a marble test.
Right.
And that makes me happy.
I like that. So what do you think about if we go over to this index TS?
Yeah.
Should we export this error message as like a constant so that, I mean, it helps our unit testing because then we can test over there, and if that changes, it stays in line. But would it make sense to really have that as part of the library?
Yeah, what about doing this?
Class? This is going to get tricky. Tried this before.
You have?
Yeah.
Why have you not stopped me?
It's not pretty. Well, you know, sometimes you got to...
No?
Let your kids fall off the bike sometimes to learn? No? Not at all. I would not recommend that at all. I think this is where it gets dicey. Is like the constructor for error is you got to like do some wacky stuff or something. I'm not stopping you because I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was something. Double map, double array.
Right.
I hope this just works.
Happy?
I am happy. Do you feel the need to do that?
You
need to do that.
I do. What? Why is it not like that?
Yeah, because super is the first thing that has to be called from the extended constructor.
Huh.
All right, Tintin's out. Good night. Thanks for joining us, Tintin. Happy to have you. And thanks for interacting with us tonight. Very cool.
So, since we're exposing that, I don't have to expect this. Right?
You have to new that up though, right?
And import it.
Tintin, thanks to you. I learned a lot. Awesome.
We learned a lot too.
Yeah. We all learned together. I love it.
Yeah. I like this. This makes me happy. So we're mapping numbers.
Yep.
And objects. And we try to map non-arrays and verify that it fails. I want to do something else, Justin.
Okay. What do you want to do?
Are you good if I get rid of all this other stuff that we did?
Yeah, get rid of that. Yeah, let's clean this up. We're at a happy state now. We got good test coverage. I think we're ready to.
Okay, so let's get rid of that. We don't need. Oh, we do need map. So
I'm also going to remove our talk. I want to leave our mapping diagram that.
Okay. The shortcut for auto import is Command dot, and that brings up things for a light bulb. So if I didn't have this here, there's a little thing that comes up over here on the side to be able to do that, or I can invoke that by Command dot, and I get the same. But that doesn't show on the stream, but I'm able to auto import that. It gives a little hover menu similar to what you see here. A little context dialog, I guess, is be the right thing to call it. So I want to delete all this, Justin. And hear me out. Oh, let me get rid of my node modules so we can see here. I want to do map array map.ts.
Okay.
But I didn't copy apparently everything. Copy. And this is going to export star from ./map array map. And then do that. .spec.ts. And we can take everything from here, put it into here. This should be fine. The spec is a little bit off. We don't need map in here. We need these two. And they are not coming from, well, they could come from index, but we want them to come from map array map. So no more spec and index. Map array map is that. And this one's saved as well. Just to rerun the test. And we are good. What failed? Your suite must contain at least one test. Oh, okay. We don't need an index spec file anymore. Cool.
Cool.
You know what I want to do, Justin?
What do you want to do?
I want to create a PR.
Create a PR.
Yep.
I have one more question. Do we want that error class to be in its own file? Or do you want it to be part of the map array map TS file?
For right now, I'm okay with it being in the same file.
I'm okay with it too, because it's specifically used for this map array map operator. So it's living next to it. I'm okay with that.
I think this makes a whole lot of sense. Map values and right?
Yep. Postal Rat says could put it in its own directory and keep it named index, so we could have like a directory called map array map and then have index ts in there and have this code in there. Yep, that's a possibility. I think what we're kind of doing is following what RxJS code base has, which in the RxJS library, they have files with the names of the operators like map.ts. So yes, that's the pattern we're kind of following here with your naming convention, right? But certainly a possibility to do the directory structure doing that for sure.
So this is going to be the predicate function to apply to each item in the array. Right?
Yeah.
Now we get a little bit of IntelliSense. I think we can get rid of this.
No, we need to keep that.
We do?
That's going to our documentation. That's going to be the documentation similar to the RxJS documentation. So I guess we put it right there with this new document comment that you have. We'll put it in there.
Okay.
So,
and keeping in line here, this is going to be error, which is thrown if a non-array value is supplied. Cool. What you doing, Jocelyn? You didn't multi-line cursor that?
I multi-lined it earlier, but
we can't use the arrows because that's not.
All right, she said, don't destroy Shorty's contributions. Yeah, man, I'm trying to get a little bit of peace in here. Can I have something in this code that you're?
You got Hacktober. You've gotten all of your Hacktoberfest PRs. I have not.
This is true. I got my shirt on the way.
Seriously,
the shirt was pretty cool.
All right, I'm gonna
picture the shirt. So,
all right, get status. All right, I'm good. Git add dot git commit -m feature and add a new operator map array map. Push origin map array map.
So now the project just has this code and our unit test. It's not in a state yet where we could package this up for NPM and make people give it so that people can pull it down, right? Or am I wrong?
Correct. Oh, because I haven't done a build. If NPM run build. I don't see why that wouldn't be able to be used. We need the .d.ts in there. Clean up the package JSON. Yeah, we could do that. We could get in there. That's not right. That's going to be dis/ and tsconfig.
We should probably provide types, right?
Yep.
We're gonna have to write those types.
Oh no. How do we emit those? Declarations. True. Oh, yeah, we should also do the map for those too. I'll do source maps. Save all that. Exclude. Our build script. I don't think TSC clears the directory first.
To add an npm script to do that.
Yeah, probably. I think we can worry about cleaning that up for deployment later on.
Yeah, I agree. It's time to wrap it up.
Yeah. All right, I think I went a little too far with the stuff within here. Let's get rid of that. Save.
Get your PR in. We can improve it, and then you can be one step closer to your Hacktoberfest shirt.
All right, let's build it. I mean, we have the spec file on the disk, but I'm not publishing at this point. All right, so yeah, but I already pushed.
GitHub at the repo.
All right, I'm going to get rid of that because I've already pushed that. Yeah. Let's see if I can do that all from here. Local pull request branches. I guess I do have to go there to create it. All right, create the brand pull request in the master. Go.
This is on your this is on your you have
no, I didn't fork it. I'm directly on here.
You're not forked?
Correct. But I can come in here, I can see the pull request, I can see all the files. Here's the description of the pull request.
This is the PR that's up on GitHub. Display inside of VS Code.
Yep.
Nice. And so you can check on each file and see the diff.
Yep.
Ooh, that is awesome. We get our IntelliSense here?
Maybe.
You gotta tell us. I don't think it'll show up on stream, will it?
No, I'm not seeing anything.
Okay.
I got a whole bunch of stuff
what happens
here.
Control click on that map array map. Well, I guess this is the diff. The diff might not show it, right? Yeah. What if you inspect the file itself? Or can you get to the file?
Open file on GitHub. What is it? Yeah, sure. Open up. All right, net tab opened up that file on GitHub for me.
All right. Well, close.
So I can come in here. I don't want to rebase and merge. And
that's cool.
I need to approve. I can just merge it. My repo. Well, sorry, Goose. So I merge that. Rebase and merge.
Twice.
So I come into pull requests here. I'm sorry, I'm looking at it on my browser and I see that there. If I look at the commits, I see it here.
Awesome. What's the URL to that? Let's see, we got ngbs/ what was it?
It's already in our private chat there, buddy.
Yeah, but it's like way up at the top. I got to scroll there. You don't remember it offhand?
No, in the StreamYard.
Oh, private chat. I got you.
Yeah.
Learn to listen, Shorty. All right.
So I can delete that branch, which is going to delete the remote branch. So I don't need that branch up there. So I'm good. So I can go back and check out master. My local branches. Shows my map array map and that. And if I do a git fetch origin, and I do a git branch and look at the remote branches, I still see that up there. I should not see that up there.
I think must be, I don't see it up there.
I don't either, but locally here, do a git fetch.
Fork it. I only see one branch on the actual NGBS repo.
Right, but here I'm seeing that, and I really shouldn't because I fetched. I purge. Here we go.
There you go. That was just a reference, right? The oh, there. Okay. Okay. Cool.
I'm good, but I still have it locally.
Nice. Nice. I like it. One close PR. Cool. Map array map. All right.
So one other thing that I don't want to go through it tonight. Oh, I have to git pull origin master. Now I get all my stuff.
Mm-hmm.
A spec file. So I'm good. And what I want to create is that.
But not tonight. We're done. Right?
Why? We can be done, and that's fine. But if we look at it just real quick, all we'd have to do is change this array to be a filter. And then this function, instead of getting all these other things in and returning something called R, returns a Boolean. And then we don't need this R. We're done. So map array filter is taking in a function that has all the other pieces on it and just returns out a Boolean.
But why is it returning a Boolean? It returns a filter. It should return a filtered list of values.
It does. So in here, we are calling array.filter instead of array.map.
Yeah. What was the Boolean before? What did you change it from?
R array. So if we look at the map one, that takes in an array of T and returns an array of R. So here we have the array of T, and we're spitting out.
But this should take in an array of T and return an array of T.
Yes, that's what this is returning. This map function is returning that.
A map function returning.
This is the function that we pass to the array. So it takes in a T and returns an R. Whereas map is... Yeah.
But filter would take in a T and return a T.
Cool.
Oh, I see. No. Okay, I'm following. Where array filter returns
a Boolean.
No.
Array filter returns the array itself.
But the function that array filter works on needs to return a Boolean.
Correct.
Yeah.
So that's all that goes into map array filter.
All right.
So that's all. I don't want to go through testing it and everything else, but
R. Hutchinson says your boss would be mad because there's no test.
I would add tests as part of a pull request. In fact, I already have tests in another file for that. But
all right. Maybe some of our viewers would want to contribute that map array filter method to this library and the test and the specs for it.
True.
Or
and
maybe
I have 1 week to come up with another PR for Hacktoberfest.
Well, why don't you PR in this map array filter, and then we can request for contributions for somebody to write the specs for it.
That's true.
And that way you get some Hacktoberfest pie and somebody else can get some Hacktoberfest pie, and we all can get enough slices of the pie to get shirts.
Yep. predicate function to filter.
Little doc, like, why didn't you just change my observable example instead of deleting it?
I don't know.
Like, just change that map array. Yeah.
Sorry.
Such a hater, man. There, yeah, put that modulus. Yeah. Nice.
And that means that this is right.
Cool. Yeah. I like how you line those up. That's nice.
Thank you.
I was struggling with that the last time. I like that. Yeah. Yeah. And then, of course, yeah, you need to make a custom one of that, right?
Yep. Done. All right. I'll create another pull request and merge that, and that'll be my 4. And if somebody would like to add tests, feel free. If you'd like to do map array reduce, would be another good one.
Ooh. Woo. That's going to be a little bit of a complicated one, right?
Why?
I mean, it's not too, I mean, it's there, but like writing in the reduce function for an array is always, I find it always like verbose, right?
Yeah, but this is just supplying a way to do that. So instead of just taking in a function, you'd have to take in a function and an initial value.
Yeah. But that, yeah, I agree. That would be another great one to have, right?
Yep. So I'll tell you what, after we end the stream, I will do 2 things. I will push up this code. I'll create a pull request and I'll merge it. And then I will create 2 issues. I will create an issue to test this. You can go ahead and end the screen share.
Okay.
So I will create 2 issues on the repo. And, oh, you know what we didn't do?
Label them as first timers.
Yeah, I can do that too. I'm going to put that out here. And yeah, so I'll create 2 issues. One for unit test for map array filter, another one for implementing map array reduce.
Mm-hmm.
And I will try and tag those for help wanted or first time or something like that.
Awesome.
And I just shared the link to the repo in the stream as well, if anybody is interested in doing that.
Like it. I like it. I like it.
Our plan is to release this. We created a scope on NPM called at NGBS, and we were going to create some RxJS things to be able to deploy under that. So we were going to do as of right now, an at NGBS/RxJS, and under there, these new operators would be exposed, and potentially other things as well.
Yeah. Sweet. I'm excited.
Me too.
Very cool.
I'm happy we got through our testing, and I think it's cleaner. And by reusing existing operators makes our code less fragile.
Less fragile, right?
Yes.
Yep. Sweet. All right, I'm going to miss you this weekend. I mean, I miss you every weekend, but I'm really going to miss you this weekend not being at the GD Summit.
Yeah, you get to hang out with our common friends being there.
When I was in the GD and you were before that one year, I came and crashed it to come say hi to you. There's not a possibility for you to do the same thing for me?
Yeah, you're like a few hour drive, and I'm like a 6-hour flight.
Yeah, it was a little easier for me to come crash it when you were there because it was literally 3 hours away for me to drive. So, all right, I understand. I understand. Yeah, I'll say hi to everybody for you.
I appreciate that.
All right.
I hope you get some cool stuff, but not super cool.
Just marginally cool.
Well, cool enough for you to be excited about it, but not like amazingly cool that I'm like,
yeah, FOMO, right?
don't totally deflate me.
All right. Well, if it's super cool, then maybe I won't tell you. So I won't be the bearer of bummer news.
You know what? I appreciate that. That's good.
Awesome.
Check.
All right, that's a wrap. Thanks everybody for joining us today in the chat and interacting with us. Appreciate it for sure. It's been fun.
We just got a question in the chat of what is this RxJS? That's a deep question.
Extensions for JavaScript.
I will share a link to at least get you started. There, perfect. You can go look at start with their site for the documentation. This is a almost 3-hour stream. Yeah, so you can go back and start watching there.
All right, so you can follow us on Twitter, right? NGBS_show. I'm Schwarty. That's Brocco.
I am.
We're on Twitch TV /NGBS. That's where you're watching us now, if you're watching us now, right? And we haven't put up any information. We got to get on that and do that. More information about our stream, what we stream, and that sort of thing. Right now, we're regularly streaming on Wednesday nights, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, whatever p.m. or a.m. other time zones, right, related to that. And then we've been also jumping in and doing some additional streams outside of the Wednesday nights occasionally. But if you follow us on Twitch with the heart up there, then you'll get notified when we go live. So if we do go live outside of like our regular Wednesday schedule, you'll be notified.
Get some notification action.
Yeah. We don't have to yet for the next one, but we have tons of ideas. So plenty of content. We just don't know which is the next one that we're going to do. But
if you have ideas for content or something you want to see us chat about or work on, let us know.
Yeah, for sure.
Things down below over here.
Give us a shout out on Twitter. That's probably the best way to communicate with us if you want to suggest anything or dive in. We love doing that too. We love seeing people have a suggestion of, I want to know more about this. And we'll probably get geeked up and excited about it and be like, yeah, let's go on that journey. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure. All right, Brocco. It's fun.
Later.
All right, later. See you, everyone.